What's up guys, Perry from Rockville here, and today we're going to show you how to set up your RTP33-TV Pro Totem Stand with detachable TV mount. As you can see, it comes with a large plate here that helps set your stand on the floor, and a small stand that we can use with our attachable pole mount so we can mount a speaker or light. We'll get to that later. It also comes with the 2 main legs and 4 cross brace supports. We also got all of our pieces for the TV stand, including the main bar here, the 2 bracket pieces that attach to your TV, and the 2 arm pieces to help mount your TV to the totem stand. It also comes with 2 bags, so you have one for your base plates and all of the bigger stuff, and a smaller bag for all of the smaller things like the TV mount, etc. It also comes with 1 black scrim and 1 white scrim to cover your totem stand. Also included are all of the screws, bolts, nuts, and washers you'll need. We've laid down all of the pieces here with labels so you know which piece we'll need as we start putting the totem stand and TV mount together. We recommend taking a screenshot here so you can refer to it as we go along. So we're going to start with step number 1, which is to assemble the totem stand. To start, we're going to use our 2 main legs, 2 of the braces, the big base plate, 4 washers, and the ME screws. You're also going to need a screwdriver or flathead for this part of the assembly. So we're going to start by grabbing one of our legs here. So we're going to line up the holes here on our leg to 2 holes here on our base plate. Next, we're going to take 2 ME screws and 2 washers and feed the screws through each washer. Next, we're going to take one of our braces here. Then we're going to take one of our screws and feed it through one of the holes here on our brace. Then you're going to line up the screw along with the brace to one of the holes here on the bottom of our leg. We can do the same exact thing with the other screw and washer we already have set up. Then we're going to take a screwdriver so we can secure the leg onto the base with the 2 braces attached. So now we're going to do the same exact thing with our second leg here, except we're going to feed it between the braces here and the base so that the holes are lining up. Then you can feed your last 2 screws to the last 2 washers here and feed the screws through each hole. Then again, we're going to take our screwdriver to lock our second leg in place. So as you can see, you have the 2 braces here bridging each leg together for extra stability. So now that we've got the large base plate and legs put together, we moved everything to the floor so we can attach the top plate. So for this bit, we're going to need the small plate, 4 black screw knobs, 4 MG pieces, and the attachable pole mount. So we're going to start by grabbing the small plate. We're going to line up the 4 holes here that stick out like so to the 4 holes here on top of our legs. Then we're going to take each MG piece, which is going to act as a washer for our black screw knobs, and feed them through the black screw knobs. Now you may need to raise the totem stand just a bit so you can screw on the black screw knobs. After we put on the washer pieces, we're actually going to grab another brace and run 2 black screw knobs through these holes here. And similar to how we set up the braces on the bottom of the totem stand, we're going to take the whole piece here and line it up so that it's being bridged on the top of the totem stand, and screw it on to lock it in place. Now you see, this bridge here will help when we mount our TV stand, but we'll get to that in a bit. Next, we can take our pole mount attachment and attach that to the top of the stand by loosening this knob here. And you'll see that this is a screw knob as well that we're going to run through the hole here on top of the stand. Then we're just going to screw the pole mount piece back onto the screw here. And now we have the option to mount a speaker to the top of our totem stand. You can even place these pads on top of your plate if you're mounting a speaker. We can also adjust the height of the totem stand with these latches here inside of the legs. To do that, we'll just pull on these rings here, and from there we can turn the ring clockwise so that it latches onto the top of these screws. And if we do that for all 4 of them, we can move the totem stand up and down. And once we found a position we'll like, we'll pull on the ring again, turn the ring so that it will fit back into this groove, which will lock the latch in place. And if we let go, you'll hear that click, meaning that it caught on to the holes on the inside, which locks the whole thing in place. And lastly, we can put a scrim on top of the whole totem stand, similar to how you would put on a shirt. Just be sure that these 2 holes here are facing in front of the stand. You can also bring all of the slack all the way down to the bottom. So now we want to move on to assembling the TV mount so we can attach a TV onto the totem stand. For this part, we're going to need the main bar here, the 2 arms, 4 large washer pieces, the 4 medium-sized bolts with the flatheads attached to them, 4 nuts, and the included wrench. So we're going to start by taking one of our arm pieces here and lining up the 2 holes to 2 holes here on our bar. Then we're going to take one of our bolt pieces and run them through these square holes on the front of the bar. Now you want to be sure that the square of the bolt fits perfectly inside the square hole here. We'll do the same exact thing with another bolt and go through the hole on the bottom. Next, we're going to take 2 large washers and feed them through the back of the bolts here. Then we're going to take 2 nuts and screw them onto the back of the bolts. You want to be sure that the blue part of the nut is facing behind. Next, we're going to take our wrench piece here and tighten up the nuts to lock it all in place. We're going to do the same exact thing with our second arm here and the remaining pieces. So now that we've got the mount assembled, we're then going to move on to attaching the TV onto the mount. So here I have my TV that we're going to mount onto the TV mount. And for that, I'm going to also need the 2 bracket pieces, the 4 MF pieces, and 4 of the MH pieces. Now, before you do this, you do want to make sure that your TV has 4 screw holes on the back, so we can mount the TV onto the totem stand. And also included are 4 different types of screws that we can use with the TV. So you can use either the MA screws, the MB screws, the MC screws, or the MD screws. For this case, we found the MC screws to fit onto the back of our TV. So we're going to start by lining up the bracket pieces to the holes here on the back of our TV. And you can do this however you see fit, so we use the 6th hole down to fit the top hole, and then you have this opening here for the bottom hole. After that, we're going to take one of our MF pieces and line it up to the hole we're using on top and the bottom, so in our case we're going to line it up to the 6th hole down. Then we're going to take one of our screws and feed it through the hole. And we're going to do the same exact thing for the bottom hole here. So we're going to feed the MH pieces through the screws here. So now we're going to line up the screws to the screw holes of our TV. And again, we're going to need a screwdriver or a flathead to secure the screws onto the TV. Now we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side with our other bracket and pieces. So now that we've got our bracket secure onto the TV, we're going to grab our mount here. Then we're going to line up the rails here of our mount to the hooks here on our brackets. And then we'll want to tighten these screws on the bottom of the brackets to secure the mount onto the TV. You can also use a screwdriver to further secure the screws here. So now that we have our TV mount secured to the TV, we're going to mount the TV to the totem stand. To do that, we're going to slide the arms of the mount here through the bridge on the top of our totem stand. To do that, we're first going to want to loosen the screw knobs here underneath the bridge. This way we'll have an easier time sliding the mount through. You want to make sure to loosen the screw knobs just enough so that they're still attached to the totem stand. Now before we mount the TV onto the totem stand, we do want to point out that if you're using a heavier or bigger TV, to have an additional person on standby to help you out with this part. So again, we're going to feed the arms here through the gaps of our little bridge. So after we've done that, we're going to tighten the screw knobs back up while we're still holding the TV. Now to further secure the mount onto the totem stand, we can use these 4 long flathead bolts, 4 small washers and nuts, and the included wrench. So we're going to want to take our long bolts here and feed them through these square holes on the side of the totem stand on top. You also want to be sure your bolt is feeding through your second hole here. Then from the inside of the totem stand, you're going to want to feed your washer and your nut to the other side of your bolt. Again, you'll want to grab the wrench to secure the nut onto the bolt, and you'll want to do this with the remaining bolts, washers, and nuts. So after we have everything assembled here with our TV and our totem, we can fix up our scrim here and wrap the front loops of the scrim to the top of our mount. Now we can even go a step further by taking a par light like our very own battery par 50 and place it inside of the totem stand for an illuminating effect. So for example, I'll turn my light on, lift up the scrim and place the light inside, then I'll bring the scrim all the way back to the bottom, and now you can see we have a light show going on inside of our totem stand. And like I mentioned before, we can even place a speaker on top of our totem stand by lining up the hole here on the bottom of our speaker to the pole mount on top of the totem stand. If your speaker has a knob on the back of it, you can tighten that up to lock it in place with your stand. And just like that, we have a very professional looking TV stand, speaker stand, and light show all in one. So hopefully this showed you guys how easy it is to set up your RTP33-TV Pro Totem stand with detachable TV mount. But of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support team through phone or email. As always, I'm Perry from Rockville, and we'll see you guys next time.